Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather today, but that's not going to stop me from talking about episode 3 of Back to the Basics, Movement as a Resource. Hope you enjoy. I think everybody, when they talk about what their goals are with the game, they all want to do outstanding damage, and there are things that clearly set people apart, like Mr. Alondo here, where he's rank 1 on multiple characters over multiple fights, where there's an underlying theme that we can analyze and figure out here. And I know, because I've watched him a lot, that he is a master of movement. There is a lot of things going on in this tier, on all of these fights, and being able to understand how those things come, how to react to those things, and how to take advantage of those things will result in your highest amount of damage possible. And I think the first thing I want to talk about is Mimiron. Mimiron has an extreme amount of movement in the fight, and there are ways to handle movement, and then there's ways to react to movement. And there's a very big difference between reacting and going with. I just want you guys to remember the golden rule before we get into anything. Always be casting, the ABCs. If you're moving and you're a boomkin, hit Moonfire while you're moving. If you're a Warlock, reapply dots, life tap. If you're a mage, throw out a Fire Blast, maybe an Arcane Explosion if you're close by. The goal is to always be producing some sort of damage. Fights are 2 minutes, 3 minutes, some of them longer like Algalum, 4 to 5 minutes. If you are moving a lot, all those little moments where you're throwing out a little bit more damage, tossing out a utility to survive, will add up at the end. And it is very important to conscientiously think, what can I be doing in that moment to maximize my damage? I want to show you a replay of my Mimiron this last week in the 4th phase. Now here I am in the top left over here. I was having an insane Mimiron. I was already like 99 parsing, and I thought this was going to be potentially top 10 world. It was going very, very well. And then all of a sudden, we get a very bad frost bomb in the raid as we're moving across over here. And I'm going to have to loop around the entire room about here. I'm going to have to loop around the entire room. As the tank moves over to the open area, I see the frost bomb over here with all these casters, and I choose to go left instead as the boss gets pulled away. And because I don't have uptime on the boss, I chose to move in an improper way. We lost a healer here, but I chose to move this way away from the boss instead of continuing to engage. So my dots fell off. I lost uptime. I did an ABC. I chose pure survival there, and there were better paths I could have taken for my survival. Like if I just went with the melee instead of going all the way around, I probably could have maintained my dots and had an even better log. And at the end of the day, we killed it. That's A-okay, that's dandy. But I'm trying to focus on individual performance, what I could do better for next week, because I want to have all 99s every phase. That's my goal. Ideally, I like to go in hundreds, but I'm not in a guild that, war game resets infernals or stacks 15 warlocks. Like we have 4 or 5 warlocks. Pretty normal stuff. But let's just look at how much damage I did. I ended up having an insane log otherwise, but I can only imagine what would happen if I maintained my uptime with my movement instead and ABC'd that fight instead of just going for survival. I had still my rocket boots. I could have rocket booted through the fire or something. I also want to go through a clip that was sent to me by Rugs that I think is very relevant here. If you notice what's happening here, this clip, the Warlock is going to be running around the entire Mimiron. He's going to take a lap over the entire room, and there's a series of unfortunate events that leads him to jumping around. But look at how he's just not casting on the boss. There's no dots on the boss. He's not casting while moving. You can see there's no dots on his weak aura there. He's backpedaling a little bit, trying to reapply dots. Just keeps canceling casts, worrying about his health, trying to retarget using the weak aura, life draining in a desperate attempt to stay alive. got spin up, very unfortunate, has to take a lap again, but he's not casting while he's moving. While he's moving, he could be putting up agony, he'd be reapplying corruption on the other bodies, could be life tapping when he had less mana before, and now there's another frost bomb, and he took an entire lap around the entire room, basically accomplishing nothing. No damage, and getting closer to that enraged timer. So we always got to think when we are moving, what can we be doing? What can we be applying onto the boss or taking advantage of for ourselves? And I could go through each class and tell you guys which abilities are very useful that I go through, because I play most of the ranged DPS, but this also applies to melee as well, because melee that have really good uptime on the boss are always able to hit the boss. They know where they're going, and an exceptional melee in my raid is Mr. Warstree. Warstree is on that boss like white on rice. Like he has such good uptime on his melee swings and his abilities because of his ability to stick on the boss. And I think at the end of the day, what I want you guys to do is think of movement like a mana pool. You don't want to run out of this mana pool of movement, and there is theoretically unlimited, but every time you use the movement as a resource, you take away from potential boss damage. Every time you move away, you can't hard cast Shadow Bolt, you can't hard cast Frostfire Bolt, Fireball, you can't hard cast Starfire, you can't hard cast Mind Blast or Mind Flay. And your goal is to move the least amount possible while maintaining the most amount of damage on the boss. Move to live, but don't move in a way where you lose your uptime. And always remember, always be casting. It's very important. If you think critically about your movement, you will become better. On every single fight, there's a little bit of improvement and optimization with your movement. And sometimes you get RNG'd, sometimes you get the Freya, and Freya throws a sunbeam at you and you gotta move. But how far do you have to move? Are you out of the woods? Do you have to open a route? You just have to think about that. It will make you better, I promise. Now, we know about our ABCs. How can we tell if we're not casting as much as we possibly can? Now, in Warcraft logs, there's a very handy tool called casts, and you could go to casts on your kill, you can go to events, and you can select a player. Say, we'll just select myself, Mr. Lemma, and you can see a second by second breakdown of what I casted, and you could see if somebody got kicked. I wasted a global here, I life tapped twice, or I got knocked up and I needed to life tap in the air so I could have more mana for later. And you could go through your globals and figure out, what was I doing here? Why did I stop? What could I have done better? Did I get knocked up here? Why did I cancel this? Did I have life tap falling off? Did I accidentally try to recast Unstable Affliction? This is a wasted global. This is damage that I could be doing to the boss in another form of a Shadow Bolt. So it is important to look at your casts and go to events, and you can see in excruciating detail what you were casting and think about why you were casting it. And if you need help, you could go to the replay and figure out what was happening in the moment on that fight. So I hope this helps. Thank you guys for making it this far into the video. I really want to thank you for your time and your support for this series. There's been a lot of people reaching out to me, thanking me for this type of information, and I hope that I can continue to keep the quality up going into future episodes. Right now I have a total of 6 episodes planned, and I'm constantly hearing more ideas and going to be adding to it. But for now, episode 4 will be about raid damage impacting your personal DPS. Thank you for your time. If you liked what you saw, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe below. It means a lot to me, and getting positive feedback makes me want to continue to make more videos. Enjoy yourselves, remember your ABCs, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.